Evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel and smash that like button right meow. Wonder if it's still gonna do that thing where it doesn't give anybody a notification until I've been live for a half an hour. That's great. What do I do? Go live at 6:30 and do 2.5 hour shows, and I just spend the first half hour kind of just dicking around. And then at 7, oh, okay, so Dark Shadows episode's this, recap, blah, blah, blah. Uh, as much fun as that would be, I don't think anybody's going to want to tune in for a solid half hour of just whatever, and then 2 hours of what the episode title says it's going to be. As much as I like, because again, these aren't really hard and fast reviews. It's more if you were to sit down with your friends and tell them about a show that you like. And I myself do have quite a hard time staying on topic. Maybe if I had the forethought to write things down and have solid topics to bring up, I could fake it, but that's just not how my brain's wired anymore. I jump around. Somebody will mention something, and that will remind me of something else, so I've got to bring it up right then. Maybe I've just spent too much time in the chat room where we just talk about whatever whenever it occurs to us. Like, whatever the topic of the show is, we might talk about it if we feel like it, but we might talk about something else. And it's always been like that. We've never just stayed on topic with whatever the show topic was. And it's kind of funny because people will show up and they've been there for 10 seconds and they're talking about, oh, well, you people should stay on topic and talk about what the host is talking about. And it's like, yeah, you've been here 10 seconds, we've been here 10 years, so you want to come in here fresh and tell us how to do things. Okay, let me go to your house and fiddle with the thermostat and eat all your food and go through all your shit. Erica, what's up? Glad you made it. Yep, flight of ideas. Yeah, how often are you? You might be reading a book, and there's you get to a paragraph, and it makes you think about another book you read, or a TV show that you saw, or a post or something a friend said. So then you get on the phone, but like, hey, remember that thing we were talking about last week? I'm reading this book right now. Holy shit, have you read it? No. Well, dude, they're talking about the same thing. What are the odds? So it's that's how it is. It's I don't know if it's hard to follow, but that's just the way I'm set up to do. Like, I do really like Robin Williams style of comedy, the way he just jumps around. Like, I don't try to emulate that, but that's sort of the way it is for me. And I didn't do as much coke as he did when he was younger. No offense to anybody who had a coke habit, but that's just my brain jumps around. I've been like this so long. I don't know what it's like to just stay. My concentration does, suffer greatly. So even when I'm doing the reviews for myself, so it's nothing I can really control in my personal life. Like, I'll be playing Minecraft and thinking about something totally different, and just let the mind wander and think about what it wants to think about. I want to go to. Glad you made it. Oh, I misattributed the author. That's okay. That happens to me a lot. I'll say the wrong thing, or I'll just be thinking of a similar name and say it and screw it up. Like, I do it in the reviews, I do it in real life. It's Thomas Dillon, Dylan Thomas, Thomas Edison, Billy Bob. It just, if it's too similar, like that one time I said, I was talking about Lady Gaga songs, and I said, "Do what you want," when I meant, "How bad do you want me?" It's that singular letter U. It's stylized with the U, and that's what threw off my brain when I was talking that one time. A one to go to says, "The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat" is a 1985 book by neurologist Oliver Sacks. that presents case studies of patients with bizarre neurological disorders, exploring the mysteries of the human mind through compassionate storytelling. Oh man, is that sort of like a less sad version of when people get uh, Alzheimer's and you don't recognize your husband or your wife or your kids, or that's really sad. Who are you people? Get out of my house! It's like these are your children that you gave birth to. Fuck off! I'm calling the cops. Like, oh no, mom's going downhill. Time to. I don't know what you do in that situation. I've never been in that situation. Well, I can't be. I don't have a mom. So it's just sad to see somebody that you love go downhill mentally, but that's when you gotta step up and do what nobody else wants to do, and just gotta keep everybody safe. I saw a video once, and it was this older, 70, 80-year-old lady, and she had Alzheimer's, and she kept periodically attacking her husband with weapons because she thought he was a stranger, and then she would calm down and realize who it was, but it had happened a handful of times. The cops knew her, personally by first name because they were called so much, and it's like, you're hitting your husband in the head with a hammer because you think he's a stranger. What happens if he's asleep? And she has an episode. You don't want to wake up dead, so they finally had to arrest her, and she don't know what's going on. It's really sad. It's tough, but you got to keep people safe. Like, do you want to see this woman locked up, or do you want to go to your dad's funeral? That's what it comes down to. Want to go to Jonathan Slack has been testing cameras for uh, Leica, Leisha, since 2009, and has also been writing about them. His old articles can still be found on this website. Oh, cool. Pardon me for not. That's why I like these two. I'll be in a chat room most of the week, and then I get here and people say stuff to me, and it's words that I've just never come across ever in my whole life. So, like, you think you're smart, and then you read one word, and you're just like, I can feel the seconds ticking by. I don't know that word. It's okay. It's okay. I like that. I like it being tested. I spelt a word wrong and I felt so bad. Like, what? I was whipping out the phone and using it like a dictionary. I mean, I'm the only one who sees this, but I've got to read it back. I can't just be spelling stuff wrong. Oh yeah, one to go to. I got your comment there. Oh, cool. Yeah. I don't know why the brain. I don't know. I do that all the time. I say one thing and it's the wrong thing, and I meant to think I was thinking of the wrong thing, so I said the wrong thing. You have to concentrate too much on words when you get older. At least I do. The brain just does not want to cooperate. I'm just going to my own show so I can read the recap that I did for my last review. Ugh. Yeah, the last review was kind of sad, and it's not just because the audio was dipping out. It's just that Maggie Evans is not having a good series of days. Because, before this, Barnabas had showed up. He's commissioned Sam to do his portrait, and then Maggie goes to sleep, and she dreamt of seeing herself lying dead in a coffin. Scared the hell out of her. And then later on that night, she does finally get to bed, and Barnabas just walks up into her bedroom through those French doors, and he grins at her, and we can see dude's got fangs. This dude is a vampire. Which that's generally not good. Nobody has like that chill vampire friend who is just drinking rats, unless it's Angel from the TV show Angel, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer spinoff. In general, if you know a vampire, one or more people in your life are going to have a bad time, and Maggie is having a bad time now because after Barnabas shows up, smiles at her, next morning she's groggy as hell, she sleeps in, she's late for work, shows up, does about half a shift, falls out. But then later that night, she's well enough to get up and get dressed and drive her dad over to the old house to work. But then the next morning, she's even groggier, and she's just getting worse. And like Joe knows about it. Word's slowly getting around that Maggie is not doing well, and it's just sad to see. I like me some Maggie Evans, and it's sad to see her so upset. And she's arguing with her husband, not her husband, but her boyfriend and her father. And it's really rough for her. She's going through it. And we have 1,016 episodes to go. Oh my God. We're almost 200 some episodes in. Roughly 229 before I get started. Let me do this clicky top pen once and not play with it for the entire show. How about that? Oh yeah, I do have super chats opened up. I've got Venmo and Buy Me a Coffee. Those go directly to myself. You're not giving Google 30%. You're not paying for AI content. I'm not spending the money on hookers and blow. Your money stays in the United States. And uh, whatever you super chat in, if it's not during the live show, I read it at my next show. So if I get one in between episodes, which happens sometimes, I will read your comment at my next live show. So you get to be part of the show a little bit more. I'm probably just going to be using it to get new glasses because I can't see from like the room is like longer than it is wide, but like the TV's there and the bed's there, and I think I said this before. I've got to pull the bed 2 feet away from the wall, maybe more, to see the TV. Otherwise, I'm like squinting and leaning forward trying to see my own television, and it's not the TV. So I guess I just need new glasses. Went to go to shock that we are unfamiliar with I can't even say that word, Leica cameras. Leica cameras. It might be something where I know what it is, but I just don't know the name of it, which often happens. Like those things. Those things people wear on their heads, and they're round, and sometimes there's a brim. Those head toppers. What are those called? Those things. It just. Oh, space cameras. Those cameras have traveled into space multiple times beginning in February of 1962. Ah. Why is it cameras in outer space have such poor... I mean, like, still photos are fine, but then the resolution on a live feed is 480p, or it's only taking a picture every few seconds, like we're watching Mount St. Helens blow up. Yes, that's how I pronounce it. I forget how I just said it. Leica. It's a German company that manufactures cameras, optical lenses, photographic lenses, binoculars, and rifle scopes. Founded by Ernest Leitz, Leitz, in 1869. Nice. Okay, German cameras. Water. Nice. So we are on episode 230. This aired on May 12th, 1967. What's today? That's not the 12th yet. Okay. Oh, we're still in day 63. What happened the last time? The last thing we saw is Sam had gone down to the Blue Whale. He was explaining Maggie's symptoms to Burke and Victoria is just like, whoa, that's the same exact thing that was wrong with Willie Loomis. And Sam's just like, ah, the doctor doesn't know what to do. And then Joe walks in, and Sam's like, what are you doing here? And Joe says, Maggie kicked me out. So Sam runs home, gets home, goes into Maggie's room. She's just gone. Like the covers are pushed down on the bed. Those doors are open. He's outside the door hollering for her. She's just nowhere to be found, and it's the middle of the night. So that's where we're at. We're at the Evans cottage, and Sam, he's up, he's pacing back and forth. Knock on the door. Joe shows up, and right behind him is Victoria and Burke. He's like, well, they came with me. So Sam must have just, phoned down to the Blue Whale, told Joe what was happening, and that's, they both know Maggie. So, Maggie is Victoria's friend, and Burke knows Maggie from growing up in Collinsport. So they both know this girl. They're worried. All three of them show up. But Sam is saying that Maggie has not come back yet. So Victoria says, well, maybe she went for a walk. Sam says, out of her sick bed? She hasn't been herself all week. She's been nervous and edgy. Joe says it's almost like she picked that fight to get me out of the house. Maybe she had somewhere to go. Sam says, where would she want to go at night? So then we are in the Eagle Hill Cemetery. It's usually foggy there. It's still foggy, and from off in the distance where it's shadowy, out steps this figure, and it's Maggie. So we found her. But we're back in the Evans cottage now, and Sam is saying that he already called the cops and they're out looking for her right now. So Burke says, well, we should look for her too. So he says to Joe, he's like, you and Sam go into Collinsport, just check anywhere that she would usually go, and I will check the back roads leading out of town. Victoria's just kind of like, she doesn't say anything, but it's like, well, what about me? But Burke tells her, someone should stay here in case she comes back. So you sit tight. All those guys take off. Now there's that little table off to the side I've mentioned before. There's a clock sitting there. And that says it's 8:57 p.m. And just then there's a knock on the door. Victoria says, who is it? They don't answer. They just knock again. Goes up to the door and opens it, a little bit apprehensive, but she opens the door a little bit, looks out. She says, Willie? Opens the door, rest of the way. He's standing there. I have a message for Mr. Evans. It's from Barnabas Collins. Well, he's going to be busy until after midnight, so Mr. Evans isn't supposed to come to the old house until then. Victoria says, I don't think Mr. Evans will be able to paint tonight. Maggie's disappeared. That shocks Willie. He's genuinely, well, what? She's disappeared? I'm sorry about her. About Maggie Evans. You just tell Mr. Evans I was here. And he takes off running. So Victoria just closes the door after him. There I go, clicking that pen. When Victoria gets inside there, she looks over at this picture. It looks like this professional photograph that was taken of Maggie. Maybe it was the actress's headshot, but got the hair. It looks really cute. There's a light in the back shining. Makeup's all perfect. Really cute picture of her. It was in her bedroom at the end of the last episode. So I think Sam was just looking at that because he didn't know where his daughter is. So that's why it's not in her room right now. But we go from that, and then we are like like the shot fades, and then suddenly we're back over at Eagle Hill Cemetery, and Maggie is like, her hair is kind of roughed up. She's got the dark lines under her eyes. She just looks, she's not smiling. She just looks like she's out of it. And there's the howling going on in the background, but she's just standing around. She's not like going to the mausoleum. She's not looking at anything in particular. She's just hanging out there. Like she's just waiting for something to happen. She just walked there 5 miles out of town. And she's cooling her heels. She's just there. But now we're back at the Evans cottage. And we see that clock again. It's about 9:11 p.m. And the phone rings. So Victoria answers it real quick. Hello. I'm laughing. I'll explain why. This is a serious situation, but we're at the Collinsport Inn in the phone booth in the lobby, and it's Willie Loomis. He's holding the phone, but he's got some kind of handkerchief over the bottom end there. For all the good it does, and his voice is just a little bit lower, but it's still clearly him speaking. And he's saying, "Find Maggie Evans. She's in danger. Go after her right now. I can tell you where to find her." And Victoria's on the phone at the Evans cottage. And, "Who is this? Please tell me. Who is this?" Because we can hear Willie's voice the way the way Victoria hears it. It's like it's not muffled by that handkerchief at all. He is not trying to speak in any kind of different way. Willie has a little bit of an accent. He's not trying to cover that up at all. It sounds like Willie Loomis, but maybe she's just so frazzled. She hasn't really spoken to Willie a lot, so maybe she just is too upset to put two and two together. But it's clearly him, but she doesn't know who it is. But Willie continues. He says, "Just listen to me if you want to save your friend. Go to the graveyard. That's where you'll find her. The graveyard on Eagle Hill. Go there if you want to save her. Go right now." And he hangs up. So there's Victoria just shouting hello into the receiver. She keeps, why is it in movies and TV shows when you can't, somebody is just being weird on the phone and you're trying to clear things up, so you keep hitting the, not the receiver, but like that bit that sticks up that's usually covered up when the phone's on the receiver. Well, why do you keep hanging up and saying hello? Like, that would be like calling somebody on your phone, ending the call, calling back in the call, calling back into the call. Hello. Like, who decided that was a thing to do? I don't know. I don't know why that's a thing, but she can't connect with who it was. One to go to. Willie keeps everyone safe by masking the phone headsets. LOL. Because he does have a bit of an accent. Nobody else has an accent like that. And it's funny because we're seeing it, and like we're seeing who it is. But okay, let me give Victoria the benefit of the doubt. She really hasn't spoken to Willie that much. She really doesn't like him that much, and she's upset about her friend being missing. And then here's this voice, and find your friend Maggie Evans. But it doesn't make any sense to her. But it's that handkerchief does nothing. His voice is not muffled at all. We can hear it through the phone just fine. It's not supposed to be funny, but if you think about it for a second, it is. So it's one of those things. I'm worried about Maggie too, but this was funny. But after Victoria can't, reconnect the call, like the operator was listening in the whole time. That sounds like Willie Loomis, but that doesn't happen. She just can't get through, picks up the phone, dials the sheriff. It rings and it rings. No answer, so I'm sure she's getting even more scared. Just then the door opens up and Burke walks in. So Victoria tells him, somebody called. He said Maggie is in Eagle Hill Cemetery. We have to find her there because she's in danger. Burke says, well, did you recognize the guy's voice? Victoria says, I couldn't tell. His voice was disguised. And then I phoned the sheriff, but he wasn't there. So I'm thinking plot twist, the sheriff called, but that's not, the sheriff and Willie don't talk the same. But what Burke says is, well, the sheriff's out looking for Maggie. That's, probably why he couldn't answer. I think he sent all of his men out to look for Maggie, so nobody's there to answer the phone. So Burke says, well, I better go to Eagle Hill Cemetery. Victoria says, I'm going with you. I'm scared. So Burke's like, all right. Want to go to tapping the switch hook to reconnect the call. Did that work with old phones? Like, do I have to get a rotary phone to find that out? I've never, because to my mind, I remember back when you had the kind of phone where if you hung up the call, and the phone was laying down. So, somebody called, I picked up the phone, but it slipped right back out of my hand and hung right back up. And I felt so bad about it. Like, that's rude. I didn't mean to, I don't know who just called. This was the 80s or the early 90s. I didn't mean to hang up on you, whoever it was. Like, I still feel bad about that. I guess that's why you're supposed to have your phone hanging up on the wall with that super long curly cord, so you can't do that. But I just picked it up, phone just slipped, and it's like, ugh. I don't know. Dial tone after the other party hangs up. Like, operator, I know you were listening to my call. Who did that sound like to you? Maybe if I piss them off with the hanging up sound, they'll say something else back to me. What to go to, like, no, these things aren't real life events. Yeah, that's just, it's just to be dramatic for TV and film. It's not what people do in real life. Like when people order pizza, yeah, I want a pizza with the works, easy on the sauce. I've never once gotten a regular ass pizza from anywhere ever and there was too much sauce on it. Like maybe on a slice or two, but it was not a consistent enough thing where I've ever had to order easy on the sauce on a pizza, food pizza. So anytime anybody orders food from a pizza place, yeah, give me this with this topping, easy on the sauce. Nobody does that. I've never heard somebody else place an order and say that, like not once in real life. I know it's an option, but I've never come across it in real life. Like when you go to the website, you can order easy on the sauce, but I don't know any place that's giving it away like that. Just being dramatic. Like they don't order extra cheese, not an extra thick cross. They don't say hook it up. Easy on the sauce. Well, we'll just get some cheese sticks if you don't like the sauce. Pizza sauce is good. And if it's not, you just don't get the pizza. We've had places like that. Okay, so they are out of the house. They're heading for Eagle Hill Cemetery. Again, it's 5 miles out of town. So I don't know how long that takes to like stumble to when you've had blood drained out of you, but that's where Maggie is. That's where they are driving to right now. Yeah, what to go to? Thank you. Never heard anyone actually say easy on the sauce. I mean, it's on the website. You can put there, you can have it like light cheese, but who wants less cheese on a pizza? Again, it's Easy on the sauce. You don't like our sauce? Well, what the fuck? Why are you ordering the pizza then? Like, how often do you take out a slice, lift it up, and it's just, oh no, now I got sauce on my pants. Now I've got two problems. I'm hungry and I've got to do laundry. Now you're just pissing me off. So we're back at Eagle Hill Cemetery. Nobody's ordered any food, but there's the howling going on in the distance. And from back in the shadows somewhere, here comes up, we get this extra little burst of fog, and then out steps Barnabas from the fog. Minecraft horror mod reference. And he walks up to Maggie and he says, "And now we must go somewhere else." He takes her by the hand and he starts to turn away. And then we hear Willie just, "Barnabas!" Off camera somewhere. Dude comes running up. He's panicking. He's nervous. Barnabas looks at him. He's like, "What are you doing here?" Willie says, I knew you'd be here. I came after you. I had to come after you. You're not safe here. Her friends, they know where she is. You got to get out of here." Barnabas, how would they know where to find her, Willie? Willie, I don't know, but they found out where she is. They're coming here. They're on their way. Barnabas, how do you know that? Willie, well, I heard. Please, Barnabas, we got to get out of here. Then we hear, like, off in the distance, somebody's hollering for Maggie. It's probably Burke. But he keeps hollering her name, and that's kind of snaps her out of her trance. That's when she's, not paying attention to Barnabas. She's looking up. She hears her name. So Willie says, "What did I tell you? They're here. Come on, let's get out of here." So Barnabas looks at Maggie. It's like, "Come with me, my dear." He puts his hand on her shoulder. But there's still somebody calling her name, and it's maybe her concentration is split in too many places, so she just kind of gets a little bit woozy on her feet, and she just falls back onto the ground. Like, Barnabas is right there, he catches her, but she's down for the count. So she's down. Willie says that we haven't got time to waste. Come on. Now we're in a different part of the cemetery. We're looking at the ground and we see a shoe with, a little teeny tiny heel. It's a flat. But Victoria bends down, picks it up. She's like, "I recognize this. This is Maggie's shoe." And Burke figures, well, she can't be far. She got all the way there and then lost a shoe. My feet would be so cold. But we're back with Barnabas and Willie, and Barnabas, he's staring down at Maggie lying there as if that's going to wake her up. He's just staring down at her. But Willie says, "They're getting closer. Leave her, Barnabas. We got to go somewhere where it's safe." It's like, "Come on." So Barnabas stares at Maggie a little bit longer, and then he stands up. They walk away. They just left her there with one shoe. It's like Cinderella plus vampires. But no sooner than they get away, Victoria's like comes walking, like they leave one way and come Victoria and Burke, like, "I see something. Is that? It's Maggie." So they run up to her. She says, "Is she?" Burke's like, "No, she's only fainted." Wait, she's coming out of it. She just, eyes are opening up a little bit. They get her, sit up. I think Burke has his leg behind her to keep her propped up. She's just that weak. But Maggie's just Victoria? Burke? Victoria says, "What are you doing here?" Maggie looks around a bit. She's like, I'm in a graveyard? How did I get in a graveyard? Victoria says, "Can't you remember anything?" Maggie says, "I went to bed, had some bad dreams, and then you were standing over me." So Burke's kind of, they're talking, and Burke's just kind of keeping his eye out. He looks off to somewhere off in the distance. He's like, did you see something over there? It looked like a man. I'll check it out. You stay with her. So Burke takes off. He's got the flashlight, so they really can't get too far. So now we're outside of the Collins family tomb. It's Willie and Barnabas walking up. Willie unlocks the gate that always squeaks. That gate always squeaks every single time they open it. Nobody's got WD-40. Nobody's got some cooking spray, lard, whatever you put on a squeaky door. It makes it creepier, but it squeaks every single time. I don't think they ever oil that thing ever. It's not meant to be opened up. You think they'd want some privacy and not to want people know. Not want the caretaker to know that they're out there, but like, no, let it squeak. Whatever. So they walk in, like Willie's leading the way, but every time Barnabas takes a few steps, he's looking behind himself, making sure they're not being followed. But they get inside. Willie, pulls down the ring to open up the door to the secret room. Hops inside. Barnabas is right there behind him, just looking back. As soon as they get in the room, there's Burke walking up to the tomb, and he's looking inside with the flashlight. And in the secret room, Willie is right. He's got his back to the door. Barnabas is there right next to him, so they can hear everything Burke's doing. But there's nothing to see in there except for those 3 sarcophagi and the plaques on the wall. So Burke just leaves. And from inside the secret room, we hear the door slam shut. As soon as it closes, here's Willie. "I think I heard him go." Barnabas says, "Quiet, you idiot." Dude, I know it's a stone wall, but people can still hear through it. Shut your damn mouth. But we're back with Maggie and Victoria. Bert comes back up to them, and Maggie does not know how she got out there. Bert comes up. He says he didn't find anyone. Asks Maggie if she can walk. He gets her up to her feet, but she's done walking for the night, so he just picks her up, carries her out. Victoria's right there with them. She is done walking. I don't know. You give blood and then go for a 5-mile walk and see how much additional walking you feel like doing at night in a cemetery. But we're back in the Collins family tomb. Door slides open. Willie hops out. He looks around, make sure nobody's in there. Looks out the gate, make sure nobody's outside the door there. Goes back in the secret room, hops in. He says he's gone. We're safe. And the door, that stone door, you can always hear it sliding close, like stone on stone. It's a very cool sound effect, but that closes on its own. Barnabas says that you have some explaining to do. How did he know where to find the girl? Willie, I told you, Barnabas, I don't know. Barnabas, but you did know he was coming here, didn't you? Willie, yeah. Barnabas, how? Willie, well, I told you I overheard them talking. Barnabas, where did that happen? Willie, I went to the Evans cottage and they were talking about going to the graveyard. That's how I knew. Barnabas, no one would have known to come to the graveyard, Willie. No one told them except you. Willie, I didn't tell them, Barnabas, honest. Barnabas, you're a bad liar, Willie. You told them. You must have told them. You must have betrayed me. The whole time, Willie, no, I didn't. He can't get a word out. Barnabas, you shouldn't have done that, Willie. That means I'm going to have to punish you. I must teach you your lesson, Willie. You'll never betray me again. So this happens so fast anyway. He slaps him with his left hand, so Willie just goes down. And then Willie screams because here's Barnabas with his cane up in the air, and he just whack comes right down with it. Beats the hell out of this dude. It's scary as hell, man. I know I gotta slow it down to talk about it, but it happens so fast. We've never seen Barnabas be violent like this before. I mean, like, yeah, it's violent to steal somebody's blood out of their neck like they're a Capri Sun, but we never really saw him bite her, and I doubt he wasn't hitting her when he did it. So you can't run out of that room anywhere. It's a stone room underground. So that's uh. So then we're back in the Evans cottage, and Sam and Joe have come back, and they're just kind of hanging out there. Door opens up. Burke walks in with Victoria, and he's holding Maggie, carries her in, lies her down on the sofa. And they're still just trying to look her over a bit, but she's like flinchy. She just doesn't want to be touched. And then she starts grabbing at her throat. She's like, I can't breathe. Then she just passes out. She's just completely unconscious. Spark's like, well, she can't breathe. Let's get the scarf off from around her neck. And he unties it, gets it loose. Now we can see Maggie's neck, and it's got these two little holes, right? Right? The side here. It's not underlined, but two little holes right on her neck. And then we see the Collins family tomb for the credits. And that's probably the scariest episode yet. Oh my god. And on top of all that, she lost a shoe. How do you have the wherewithal? You're summoned by a vampire, you slip your shoes on, stumble all the way to where he said to me. Yeah, that was creepy as hell. Oh, there it is. Well, they found Maggie, but she didn't have marks on her neck before. Like, she's been wearing that scarf basically all day. But was it? Is it just because she's cold? They don't really explain it. They never showed marks on her neck before, but she's got them there now. And when did that happen? Because she shows up, she falls out, but then was it when we cut to, say, Burke and Victoria finding her shoe? Is that when he bit her, like, off camera? It must have been, but then I don't know if we see the side of her neck then to say when she was unconscious, that's when Barnabas bit her, and Willie was just right there watching it. That must have been it, because there's no other time when that could have happened. He couldn't have bitten her when she was on the way. And why have her meet at the cemetery 5 miles out of town when it's just it's a 10-minute drive from about her house to the old house? Why not have her meet there? Unless he wasn't that hungry and he could wait. Maybe it's too suspicious if the girl who's been ill shows up at his house proper, so he has her wander out of town and then bites her there. That must be it. Because how else would he explain Maggie being at the old house with holes on her neck? Like, well, we found her there and you weren't home, and she had these holes on her neck, and she didn't know how she got there. Just like, well, I don't know. I wasn't home at the time. Willie, you didn't see anything, did you? No, Barnabas. Flinching. Okay, so I get why, but okay, so he must have bit her when we weren't looking. I guess it happens fast. You don't have to like cut your meat before you eat it. So this man is officially on a liquid diet. Okay, episode 231 aired on May 15th, 1967. We are on disc 27. It's still day 63. It's still nighttime. We're still in that same night there. And we're in Maggie's bedroom. She's completely asleep. And Joe is saying to Sam that Burke took Victoria home and she's still shaken up. Sam says, "Thank God she was here to answer that phone. I would have never thought in a million years to look in the cemetery for her. Look at her. I've never seen her look so bad. Can't figure out how she got those marks on her neck." Then we hear howling again off in the distance, and that seems to sort of be waking Maggie up. She's just kind of squirming. It's almost like she starts having a nightmare or something when she hears that howling. So she's just kind of she's lying there, but she seems to be upset. So Sam notices those French doors are open, so he closes them. He says, "Why are these always open?" Joe, she probably wanted some fresh air. So there's that howling going on again. This might be when Sam says if he had a rifle, he'd shoot those dogs. But Maggie starts to wake up a little bit. She's got some pillows there behind her, so she kind of pushes herself up a bit. She's sort of sitting up. She's still really out of it. She's all like, "What happened to me? I remember going to sleep, and that's all." Sam says, "Don't you remember going out?" Joe says, "Sam, maybe we better not." Maggie says, "What do you mean, better not? I've got to know. Please tell me." Joe says, "Well, if I let you chase me out. You called me a babysitter and told me to GTFO." Sam says, "So then you went out those doors and wandered around." So Joe says, "Until Victoria and Burke found you and brought you back." Maggie says, "Where did they find me?" They sort of don't want to say. She's like, "Tell me, I'll call Victoria and find out myself." Sam tells her they found you up in Eagle Hill Cemetery. Maggie says, "The cemetery? No. Was I alone? What was I doing there?" Sam, you fell out. You were alone. Maggie says, I think I remember being in a cemetery. I remember Vicky and Burke standing over me, and Burke went after someone. I was alone. She says, I'm so cold. I'm colder than I've ever been in my entire life. She's got the blankets pulled up. Later on, the doctor's there. Dr. Woodard. This guy I recognize. When they first brought on a Dr. Woodard, I don't know that dude from Adam. He's just in one episode. And then another doctor comes to see Maggie, and they don't say his name. But this Dr. Woodard, this is the guy that I was thinking about originally. I know this dude. He's going to be around for a minute. So now, before I thought it was different doctors, seeing like I thought one doctor saw Willie and another doctor saw Maggie. No, this has all been Dr. Woodard, apparently. So it sort of begs the question if Dr. Woodard saw, pardon me, I don't have the actor's name right now. If Dr. Woodard saw Willie and saw the holes, or, like the holes on his wrist and all the symptoms and the tiredness, and then he sees Maggie with the tiredness and all this, he didn't put that together. I don't know. Maybe we're not supposed to think about it that deeply. I'm like, wait, if this is all the same guy, don't doctors sort of think like detectives in a bit of a way and put things to, I don't know, but Dr. Woodard, he's checking the thermometer. He says it's 5 degrees below normal. I don't know what your temperature has to be, like, low wise to fall out. I know you can't be like hanging out with 104-degree temperature and be okay. You start hallucinating, but okay, she's 5 degrees below normal. She's basically awake though. She's sitting in bed, but she doesn't want to be fussed with. So he's, give me your hand, and she does. It's like, that's a cold hand. Checking her pulse, like looking at his wristwatch. Sam says, I put all the blankets on her that I could. I'm trying to keep the room warm. So then Dr. Woodard puts the blood pressure cuff on her, and she doesn't want to have that put on. Nobody does. I hate that damn thing too. So she's like, do you have to? It's like, you know I do. So he's squeezing that sucker. He says, now, how many of those pills that I left have you taken? Sam says, well, she really hasn't had a chance to. Dr. Woodard, he's looking at her arm. He says, your skin's very gray. So then he tries to like look in her eyes, like he's gonna, like they got that thing, they gotta shine the light in your eye. Like, how can that be good for you? But he goes to do that, and she flinches away. Like, my makeup, but no, but she just doesn't want to be, fiddled with. So like, do you have to do that too? He's like, well, I do. And just, looks in her eyes, see how her pupils react. We've all had a checkup. You know how it goes. So Dr. Woodard asks her, now, have you ever walked in your sleep or dreamt of sleepwalking? Oh, what's up, John Rogers? Glad you made it. Maggie says, I don't remember what I dreamed. Sam says, well, you remember that dream you had the other night? Maggie doesn't want him talking about it. Says, well, she dreamt she saw herself in a coffin. Dr. Woodard, he thinks that could have something to do with her going to Eagle Hill Cemetery. He's just, please stop talking about it. So then he tries to check out her neck. Oh, sorry, it's on this side here. But she really pulls away then. She does not want him looking at it. It's like, well, how did you get those wounds on your neck? Maggie says, I don't know how I got them. So Dr. Woodard said, well, they weren't there earlier tonight. You must have gotten them in the cemetery or on the way there. I've got to put something on those. Maggie says, no, they've got to be left alone. Doctor says, what do you mean? Maggie says, they're nothing. They're not important. But he gets his little cotton ball, cleaning them off, just, dab, dab, dab. And he's looking at them at the same time. He says, they're two small, round puncture wounds. Now, Maggie, you didn't stick yourself with a pin or a piece of costume jewelry, did you? Maggie says, not that I remember. The doctor says, well, as small as they are, they should have bled somewhat. And Sam didn't see any blood. There's not one drop of blood anywhere in this house. It's a very clean place. There's no trail. It's not on her bedclothes. It's not on the bedding. Nothing like that. So the doctor keeps, just kind of like you just sort of like touching the skin around them. He's like, are they painful? And Maggie flinches away again. She's like, no, leave me alone. Everyone's got to leave me alone. And then she passes out. Get your hands off me. What is my crime? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? I don't think Maggie's had very much to eat in the last few days. But we're back in the living room there at the Evans cottage. Doctor says, I've got to do something to save her life. She's barely got enough blood in her to keep herself going. Sam's like, well, you going to take her to the hospital? And Dr. Woodard says, well, I dare not move her. She needs a transfusion. She's type A, and I'd do it here if either one of you were a match. Joe's out there. He says, I'm type A. Doctor says, are you sure? And Joe says, yeah. Dr. Woodard says, I won't know what's wrong with her until the lab results come back. I'm afraid she's going to go into shock. Do they not care about positive and negative, or are they just like they're not, this is not a detective show, they don't have to be quite that accurate, but like type A, sure, positive, negative, yeah, positive, do it. Because I think blood type comes up another time, and it just, or maybe with Laura Collins, they mentioned her blood type, but it was whatever it was, but they don't say positive or negative, it was just there in her file. Like, yes, I'm positive it's type A. It's like alphabet cereal, but you just see a bunch of little A's in it. That's how they know. Wouldn't Joe have type C blood because he's a man of the sea? Okay, they don't get into that. All right. But then we're back in Maggie's room, and the camera's just on her, and she's kind of, she's laying in bed, and she's just squirming, just kind of upset by something, like she's in pain. But then she looks over at her arm. She says, what are you doing? Dr. Woodard says, just hold still. And now the camera's pulled back and it's turned so we can see what's going on. Maggie's lying there. The doctor's basically sitting on her bed. And Joe's sitting in a chair. But like there's a nightstand and then Joe's sitting next to that. And he's got a sleeve rolled up. And there's a needle in his arm going into something in the middle there, and then there's another one going into Maggie's arm. This just reminds me of a blood transfusion, like how they did in Bram Stoker's Dracula, minus the vial with the blood being poured into it first. It just going directly from Joe's arm to something that Dr. Woodard's holding and into Maggie's arm. I guess you could do it like that back then. I'm sure you could do it now. I don't know how safe that is. Don't be doing blood transfusions all willy-nilly for fun. That can be dangerous. But Maggie's kind of, waking up, coming out of it, realizes what she's seeing. She screams, tries to rip the needle out with her other arm, but Dr. Woodard grabs her so she can't. So then, Sam walks around to, hold Maggie down so she can't rip the needle out of her arm. And now she's really upset. She's saying, don't take his blood. I think that's the most upset we've seen her. Ugh. But they must have gotten finished with that. We're back in the living room there at the Evans cottage, and Dr. Woodard is prescribing Maggie some tranquilizer. She until he can find out the best treatment for her, she just needs to relax. Basically saying he doesn't know what to do, but here's some downers. I don't know what they prescribed for tranquilizers back then. Like, okay, just have her do a line of Xanax. Just have her get Sandied out. She'll be fine. But he does say that she needs to be watched constantly since she's a sleepwalker. And she's got to stay in that bed. He's, telling Sam all this. Just, round up some friends, hire a nurse, but you cannot let this girl out of your sight. And it's late. He's got to go, so the doctor takes off. We're back in Maggie's room, and she must have fallen asleep after the transfusion. She's waking up again now, and Joe's there, and Maggie's saying, "I don't want your blood. I don't want anyone's blood. Just stay out of this, Joe. Stay out of it." And she's out again. She passes out. So that's when Sam walks in and wants to know how Maggie is, and Joe tells him she came out of it for a second. What time do you want me to come back in the morning? Sam says, well, I'll call you. I found these keys. I'm going to lock those doors. So Joe says good night to Sam and Maggie, even though she's asleep, and he takes off. Yeah, let's let this guy give blood and then drive himself home. I'm sure nothing bad's going to happen to him. But Sam goes over, he locks those doors, and then he sits down in the chair and lights up a cigarette. Because that's what you want to smell when you're passing out from blood loss, cigarette smoke. But later on, Sam is, nodded out in the chair. And there's that howling outside, and that wakes Maggie up. And she sits up, like, it's very robotically. She just kind of rises up from bed, just turns towards the doors, gets out of bed, walks up to him, looks over at her dad asleep. But then she tries the doors, and they're locked, so she's fighting with them, and that wakes up Sam. So Sam's got to grab her and pull her back to bed. And Maggie just keeps screaming, "Let me out!" Girl, you're staying in tonight. No, that it kind of threw me. I'm like, why does Sam know about the dream Maggie had? But Joe must have told him about Maggie's dream. You weren't supposed to tell anyone, Joe. But that's okay. It's understandable. She's in a bad way. Yeah, so a rough night for Maggie. Oh, poor thing. Yeah. Yeah, last time I mentioned, a Barnabas munching on people. It's, he's on a liquid diet. You don't really munch on anybody. So it's like I said, when you become a vampire, basically everybody is just a Capri Sun to you. But instead of one straw going in, you've got two. And instead of a fruit drink inside, it's blood. So when you're a vampire, everybody's just a vending machine on feet. That must be why vampires are so slim. They're on a liquid diet. I just pieced that together. So now it's a new day. It's morning. It's day 64. We're on episode 232. This aired on May 16, 1967. That's today. And again, it's morning. We're in Maggie's bedroom. And she's, her hair's a lot nicer than it was last night. So she's got that little bow going on, the bangs. It's all combed. It's not all rough looking from stumbling to a cemetery 5 miles away at night. But Joe's sitting in the chair there watching her, and he reaches on the bedstand for his cup of coffee there, but he knocks it over. It makes a little bit of noise, so that wakes up Maggie. She looks over at him like, Joe, why are you here? I wasn't sleepwalking again, was I? Joe's like, well, I've been here a couple of hours. Sam had to go out. Maggie says, well, I must be getting better if I slept so well. I'm tired. Joe's like, well, to be honest, it's only since sunrise that you haven't been so restless. Don't you remember you tried to go out last night? Maggie says, I don't remember. Maybe I'm so tired because everyone keeps asking me questions. It's like, why won't they let me rest when I'm so tired? Joe says, maybe you're just run down and need some rest. Go back to sleep. Then he leans in like he's going to kiss her on the cheek, but, her hair is kind of, back. And instead of looking at her face or anything like that, he's just staring at her neck. And it's like he doesn't want to get too close to her. It's really... It's really odd, and Maggie notices that. So Maggie says, oh, does my neck look that bad? Joe said, no. Maggie says, well, why did you look at it that way? Joe is open. Maybe it's because we don't know how you got those. You can't blame me for worrying about you. Maggie, don't worry about me. Go away. I made up my mind. We're not going to see each other anymore. Joe says, what? What makes you say those things? Maggie doesn't answer. So later on, Joe's on the phone. He's called Victoria. She's taking the phone call in the foyer there, but Joe's saying that, Sam won't be back until later, and Maggie's been asleep most of the day. When she's awake, she acts kind of strange. So Victoria says, well, I'll be there right away. And then we hear thunder. Another thunderstorm rolling in. I don't think we've had a thunderstorm in there for a little while. But right when Victoria was finishing up her call, behind her, the door to the kitchen opened up. Jason walked out, and he, couldn't help but overhear her on the phone, so he walked up really slowly. But she's done with her phone call. She's going for her coat. Jason says, well, if you're going out, I would advise against it. There's a storm coming up. Victoria says, well, I wouldn't go out, but my friend is sick. It's Maggie Evans. She can't be left alone, so she doesn't get up. I don't have time to explain. She was sleepwalking in the Eagle Hill Cemetery the other night. Jason says, well, how did you think to look for her there? Victoria says, I got a phone call, and I'd like to get there before the storm breaks. Jason says, or asks, who saw her there? Victoria says he wouldn't say who he was, and Maggie couldn't remember. She cut herself, and it didn't even wake her up. She has 2 wounds on her neck. Jason, what explanation did the doctor give? Victoria, none. He doesn't know what's wrong. And she heads out, and as soon as she's out the door, Jason grabs his coat and he takes off as well. So now we're at the old house in the foyer. Somebody's knocking on the door, and they just walk right on in. It's Jason. And it's it's daytime, no candles are lit. Candles are like their light bulbs. You really wouldn't have the lamps on during the day, so that's why the candles aren't lit. But he walks in, and he's looking around, walks into the drawing room, just looking. Nobody's there. But then down the stairs comes Willie. Says, what do you want? And he walks up to the entrance of the drawing room, but he keeps his face turned away, like he doesn't want anybody to see the left side of his face. So Jason walks up to him, and then we're looking at Willie from a different camera, like a camera in the foyer, and we can see the side of his face is fucked up. He's got these 2 like long, thick, like he's got kind of a hairline that goes back, but it's like one that's going like from his temple up towards his hairline, and then another one that's almost completely the entire side like of his face going all the way, like he's got 2 like that, and they're thick, really dark too. So if his face was that fucked up, he was probably upstairs sleeping off a headache. But we can see that. Jason doesn't see that yet. He's still keeping his face turned away from Jason. But Jason says that I want answers to some very specific questions. So Willie says, I don't have any answers, not to anything. Jason says, I'm afraid you do, and you're going to tell them to me. So he grabs his arm and like pulls him into the light. And that's when he really get a look at these marks. They're, again, like they're wide, like 1 inch or so wide, really long. And the one that's up on his forehead, up on his temple there, it looks like the skin had gotten broken. It's bad. It's real bad. Oh. That's a headache you're gonna have for a week, guy. That is so fucked up. I wouldn't want anyone to see that either. So Jason says, what happened to your face? Willie just turns away from him. He's not saying nothing. Jason's like, fine, I don't care. There are too many coincidences. So Eagle Hill Cemetery, where you went. And that's where they found that girl. Willie says, well, if I was there, it was a long time ago. Jason says, and I'm supposed to assume you've never been back? So Willie, what would I want there? I had nothing to do with that girl being there. Now, please, leave me alone. So Willie starts to head upstairs. He gets about halfway up the stairs, And Jason stops him. Jason says there's one more coincidence. That wound on your arm. And Willie's just covering up his wrist. He says, you got them the night you went to Eagle Hill Cemetery. And Victoria Winters said when they found the girl, she had punctures on her neck. Willie says, well, you don't think that I had... Jason's like, I don't know. But I'm positive you know something about it. There were too many similarities for it to be a coincidence. Willie says there is no other explanation. I wouldn't hurt that girl, not for anything. I'd even... And he looks off to the right, like there's something, like maybe something, like we don't hear anything, but it's as if something made noise off to the right. Like when you walk into the old house, we're looking at the doors, but then it's as if maybe there's a room behind where the camera is. That's where Willie's looking, as if something important is that way, but that stops him. So then he goes down the stairs into the drawing room. Jason says, you'd even what, Willie? Protect her? Isn't that what you were going to say? Willie says, I don't even know her. She means nothing to me. Jason, Miss Winters mentioned a phone call telling her where to find Maggie and that she was in danger. You wouldn't be the man who made that phone call, would you? Willie, how could I when all this means nothing to me? Jason says, I never suspected you of having a conscience. But you've been behaving so strange lately. Anything's possible. Willie, I didn't make any phone calls and I don't know what you're talking about. But I have things to do. Jason says the first thing you're going to do is pay close attention. I'm letting you stay on here because you seem to be reformed somewhat, and Mr. Collins is kind enough to give you some work. If you're up to something that'll bring the cops to Collinwood, I want it stopped ASAP. I won't let my plans be jeopardized by you. Willie says, I have things to do. Jason, is that clear? Willie, it's dark. It's almost time for me to light the candles. Jason, I want an answer. Willie, maybe you should just forget your questions. Jason, I have no intentions of forgetting them. Willie, that might not be the wise thing to do. He turns away from him. He's got his vest on, takes the matches out, starts lighting the candles. So Jason, are you threatening me? Willie, no. Jason, that's what it sounded like to me. Willie, to me, it sounded like a warning. Now you'll have to excuse me. Mr. Collins doesn't like my entertaining guests. Jason, you know what happened to that girl, don't you? Willie, I know it's dark. Jason, did you make that phone call? That's not like you. Willie, you know me better than that, don't you? Jason, I thought so. I may have to get to know you all over again. I'm gonna find out what you're up to. I promise you. Willie, fortunately, you're not a man who keeps his promises. What's up, Dandy? Glad you made it. Says, hey, Nikki, in chat, I watched these episodes today. Didn't think I'd be here tonight. Oh, cool. These are really good, man. It's getting scary. It's so bad for Maggie. When was Capri's son? When did that start? It's bad, man. It's really bad. So now we are at the Evans cottage, and Victoria showed up, and Joe is saying that he's like, I'd like to think it's because she's not well, but this is different. She was handing out walking papers. Victoria, she's like, I wouldn't take anything she says too seriously when she's not feeling well. Joe says, I was in that room with her most of the day. I never missed her so much in my life. Oh, hell of a line. Dandy says it is getting good. It's getting serious, man. People have holes on their necks, and now Willie's got his face all bashed up, and Barnabas is yelling at people, and there's a thunderstorm. We don't know this now, but it took them a while, but they finally got their permanent Dr. Woodard on the show. Unless we're supposed to believe that it's in Collinsport, which I don't know how many people are in town, but they've got 3 doctors, all with the same last name. Doubt it. Maybe if they were in Boston or something, but I don't. I think it's supposed to be the same guy. And he says it was kind of funny though watching Barnabas hide in the crypt. Yeah, this big scary guy who can take out anyone just by being so intimidating and biting them, but he still has to like run with his buddy and hide behind a door and it's quiet, quiet, quiet. Is he gone? He's still out there. Shh. So like yeah, you're big and scary, but run! I could kill you, but first I've got to hide. And after this game of hide and seek, it's over for you. You can't let a secret get out that you got to kill everybody in town. That's just going to bring the reporters and drama. And he doesn't want to have to think of that many lies. So, like, let's just hide. So now it's nighttime. We're in Maggie's room. And Maggie's asleep, but she's saying Joe's name in her sleep. So like she didn't really want to send him away. She loves that guy. I just don't think she wants him to get hurt. She doesn't want him involved. He doesn't want him giving blood, any of that. So like that's why it's not like she hates the guy. That's just her way of protecting him. And so it's as sad as it is to see her being mean to her dad. It's just as sad to see her being mean to Joe. She loves those guys. She's not a mean spirited type of chick. But Maggie's there, asleep, saying Joe's name, and Victoria walks in, and Maggie wakes up, and Vicky asks how she's feeling, and Maggie looks up at the door. She's like, Joe's gone. Is it night yet? And Victoria says yes, and it's again this thunderstorm going on, thunder and lightning, and Maggie looks over at the doors. So Victoria asks, "Does the lightning scare you?" Maggie said, "No. It's a shame to spoil the beautiful darkness. I never realized how much I like it. It's sad. It's sad that I love the night and I love the darkness so much, and I never knew it. Maybe that's why I'm feeling so much better. That I know it's dark outside." Victoria says, "I know it's none of my business, but Joe said you never want to see him again." "I said it's because you're not feeling well." Maggie said, "Joe must never come back. As long as I live." It's the lightning. And she gets up out of bed and she walks up to the doors. She says it's like one quick day, all in a moment. So Victoria's, urging her, like, please, Maggie, get back into bed. So Maggie finally, turns around. She does. So it's later on. Maggie was asleep, but she wakes up and she does this like really robotic sit up that she does and looks over at the doors. So it's this it's really creepy. And Victoria was sitting over in the chair, but she gets up to go sit with her on the bed. Maggie, are you all right? And just then the doors blow open, both of them at once, and there's a silhouette standing there. It's got to be Barnabas. We know how his coat looks with the extra on top. And Victoria screams. But as soon as there's another flash of lightning, it's just gone. So Vicky jumps up. She runs up close to the doors as fast as she can. Maggie's like, no, leave them. They've got to stay. And Victoria's got the doors closed. She turns around. She's shaking. She's looking at Maggie, just like, Maggie? And Maggie is so calm. She's so chill. She's just, it's all right. It's all right now. We see the drawing room at the old house for the credits. And I've never thought of it until now, but I see why vampires would like lightning, because when are you going to see a town all lit up ever again? They didn't really have electricity every single last place back then the way they do now. So that's, I see why they would want to go out during a storm just so they can see, oh, that's what that looks like. Oh, leaves are green. Wow, I thought everything was like gray and black. So now I'm just starting to think that there's vampires outside every time there's a thunderstorm. Now we are on episode 233. This aired on May 17th, 1967. It's still day 64. It's nighttime. They reused the what we saw at the end of the last episode there with Maggie waking up and the doors blowing open. Victoria screams, and we see Barnabas' silhouette, and Vicky closes the doors, and Maggie's all chill. So they reuse that. And then we are in the living room at Collinwood. And Carolyn's up. She's wearing this bed dress. It's shiny fabric. All of it is shiny. But then it's got these little dots that are also shiny, but it's like the shininess is inverted. I guess it looks cute. I wonder what color it is. But she's sitting by the fireplace. I would say she's reading, but she's really just holding a book and just seems to be upset by all of the thunder and lightning and just keeps glances up at the window. It's distracting. But she gets up as she starts heading towards the foyer right when the doors open up, and it's Victoria coming back in. And she seems a little bit jumpy too. Like maybe she didn't expect anybody to be up, but she tells Carolyn that she was with Maggie. She asks her, why are you up? Carolyn, I couldn't sleep. It's huge crash of thunder. She says, that's the real reason. They walk back into the living room and the lights dim. They come back up, but they really do dim quite a bit. Carolyn says, I hope the lights don't go out. And Victoria tells her, that the whole way home she kept seeing shapes and figures in the road, like as if somebody was standing right in the middle of the street, and she had to swerve the car a few times. She thought she was going to hit these people. And just then the power goes out. And Carolyn's scared. So Victoria's trying to keep her calm. She's like, well, let's just light some candles. And there's that cupboard that's always in the back of the room there. They open those up. That's got the candles. Like, it's got the candelabra with the candles in it and a few candlesticks that already have candles in them. So, the matches, lighting a few of those, setting them around the room. But as they're doing that sort of in the back of the room there, Victoria looks up by the window. She kind of, oh, I thought I saw someone at the window. No, it started over at the Evans cottage. Like, the lightning was blinding, and suddenly the French doors burst open, and I saw the shape of a man. Then there was another flash, and he was gone. So I closed the doors. I thought Maggie would be scared, but she wasn't. Oh, me and my imagination. So just then Carolyn looks up at the doors that lead into the living room, and she gasps. So Victoria looks up at what she's looking at. She gasps too. We see the silhouette of somebody standing there. So Victoria's holding out a candle to see who it is. She says, Mr. Collins? So there's Barnabas there. He takes a step in. He says, I'm terribly sorry if I startled you. I knocked, but the thunder must have drowned the sound. May I come in? Carolyn, yes, certainly. Barnabas, what happened to the electricity? Carolyn, the power failure. Barnabas, now that's something I don't have any problems with. One gets quite used to candlelight. Carolyn asks him, whatever made you come out? Barnabas, I wanted to speak with Miss Winters. You were with Miss Evans tonight, weren't you? How is she? Victoria, the doctor gave her a transfusion last night. She seems to be much stronger. Barnabas, well, that kind of news makes the night seem less bad. So Carolyn invites him to stay. She's still jangly. So Barnabas asks her, does the storm disturb you? Carolyn, tonight it does. Barnabas crosses the room like he's at the door to the entrance to the living room, and he's walking over to the window. But as he does that, the camera kind of tips up a little bit too far. And we can see where the wall for the set ends, because it's got that wood paneling, and then it's got some regular looking wall, and then about a foot or so above that, it must be where people have to walk when they go up to the second floor in the foyer. And there's no banister up there, but we can see that just for a second. It's so funny. Hang on. I needed some tea with honey. The shows always try to be serious and they do something silly, but if you're really not paying too close attention, you might not notice it. But I'm like, well, why did the camera go up? Like, wait a minute, that's where the wall is. But Barnabas is looking around. He says, this is an exquisite room. How wonderful to see it this way, by candlelight, the way it was designed to be seen. Tori says, well, that's romantic, but I could do without the lightning. Carolyn says, I'll never get used to the storms. Barnabas says, there have been worse storms here. Storms that made people huddle in these very rooms, in the rooms of the old house. The hurricane winds pounded the foundations and tear at the roof, making unearthly sounds. It seems as if the winds and the lightning converged on the Collins property. It was known that the storm would be at its most ferocious up here. No one could ever explain it. Oh, what's up, Brian? Glad you made it. Perhaps it was the contour of the land. There were storms that drove ships onto rocks below Widow's Hill, great masts snapping, the cries of men being swept overboard, never to be seen again, forever mourned by their widows. Listen, hear that? Carolyn, just the wind? Barnabas, yes. Sorrowful sound. The sound of grieving, hopelessness, despair. There were times when the moaning of it, pardon me, there were times when the moaning of the winds could be confused with the cries of the widows. There was a night such as this, a night when a young, beautiful woman was pressed to her limits. She could no longer accept what the future held for her. She knew she had to destroy herself before she became something she did not want to be. She had quarreled with her lover. She tried to send him away, but he would not be put off. He tried to put his arms around her, but she broke away from him and ran out into the stormy night. Her white dress contrasted against the darkness. He ran after her. She headed for the one place on earth that seemed to be designed for the termination of life. The rain drenched her. The winds buffeted her, blowing her long hair wildly. Her clothing was torn by the low branches. Her small white feet were bruised and mud-stained by the stony, cruel path to the summit of the cliff. The shouts of her lover were lost in the wind as he moved swiftly after her. Near the top, she stumbled over a large rock. Crying hysterically, she limped and crawled to the edge. Her lover reached her, clutched at her, spinning her around to face him. Her eyes were wild with terror as the lover held her tightly, lips pressed against her throat. Soon she grew limp, and he released her. Suddenly, with her last surge of energy, she broke free and hurled herself off the cliff. Her scream echoing as she plunged downward. Her body was impaled on the rocks below. Her lover descended to the bottom of Widow's Hill and found her body, broken, lifeless, bloodless. As violent as her death was, the expression on her face was one of serenity, as if this were the best possible end to her life. Carolyn, I don't want to hear anymore. Barnabas, did my story startle you? I'm terribly sorry. I certainly didn't intend to tell it. Carolyn, it's all right. Your familiarity with the past is too vivid for me. Good night. She can't get out of the room fast enough. The power's out. There's a creepy thunderstorm, so this guy proceeds to tell a scary story. O'Brien, checking in from Decatur, Indiana baseball tournament. Oh, sweet. Are you winning? Carolyn was already creeped out. Then she hears that story. Now she's going to bed. Yeah, she's going to be up all night having nightmares. But Barnabas turns to Victoria. He says, I hope my story didn't affect you the same way. Victoria's like, well, it aroused my curiosity. You said her lover found her body bloodless. Barnabas asks, why do you react to that word? Victoria, because of those animals and Willie Loomis, and now Maggie Evans has lost a great deal of blood, and no one knows why. It's so strange. Like, why was Maggie sleepwalking in the cemetery? I'd have never thought to look for her there if I hadn't gotten that phone call. Barnabas, phone call? Victoria, yes. Someone said she was in the cemetery and to hurry. I don't know who it was. I didn't recognize the voice. Barnabas, yes. I wonder who it could be. Victoria, whatever's wrong with Maggie, I don't think we'll find out through any logical process. Barnabas, you're a very clever girl. Please take care that what happened to her doesn't happen to you. I shouldn't like to see the same illness. I shouldn't like to see you with the same illness she has. It could happen to anyone. And then from the living room door, there's Jason. He's got a flashlight. Pardon me. I wasn't sure anyone was in here. Victoria, I was just going up to bed. Good night. Jason goes up to Barnabas. I've been wanting to have a few words with you about your servant problem. He's up to something. Barnabas, what? Jason, no idea, but something's happening, and now's the time to take action. Barnabas, what action do you recommend? Jason, well, as much as he's my friend, I think you should get rid of him right away. Barnabas, well, he seems to be doing so well. Jason, he's putting on an act. Something's happening. Barnabas, just what do you think he's up to? Jason, I can't put my finger on it. It's got something to do with that cemetery. Barnabas, cemetery? Jason, the cemetery on the other side of town. Willie's been there a few times. Barnabas, what does he do there? Jason, I don't know exactly. But I followed him there once, and right before my very eyes, he disappeared. I'm going to get it out of him one way or another. Barnabas, I think you're being unduly suspicious. Jason, they found Maggie Evans in that same cemetery under strange circumstances. I don't know why she was there, but I believe Willie's got something to do with it. He should be removed before it goes any further. I don't know if I can handle him the way I used to. There's a change come over him. Never seen him behave like this before. And he's hurt himself, too. Had some kind of accident. Barnabas, I thought he had fallen off a ladder. Jason, is that what he told you? He didn't fall from any ladder. The man just can't be trusted. Barnabas, well, it seems I shall have to take steps. And he takes steps right out of the room. So then we're in the old house foyer. It's, candles are lit, thunder and lightning going on. Nobody's in there. Barnabas walks in. He is pissed off. And he's yelling for Willie. It's like, Willie, Willie, Willie! And we see the drawing room for the credits. Dude, if I was Willie, I'd be hiding in the outhouse. There's no way. This one, again, it's you do want to watch these for yourself because the whole time Barnabas is standing there with Jason, it's like Jason is warning him about his friend, and Barnabas is just standing there politely, wishing it could be anywhere else. He's looking off to the side. Does not want to talk to this dude, doesn't like this dude at all. And as it is I don't know if it's encouraging. Yeah, Jason is, encouraging Barnabas to get rid of Willie, but at the same time, he's saying, I don't know what he's up to. I think he's involved. He's putting on an act, and I don't know what it could be, but you just can't trust him. You just got to get rid of him. He could be up to something. Just let him go. So he's trying to be persuasive, but then at the same time, he really doesn't have any much. He doesn't have very much information to give Barnabas to convince him to get rid of Willie, other than he himself is suspicious of him and thinks he has something to do with Maggie disappearing. But why would Barnabas really care about what happens to Maggie? He's only met her a few times. Tandy, yeah, I didn't watch this one yet. Willie or won't he? LOL. Right. Because he's already pissed off. How else would they have known to look for Maggie in the cemetery unless Willie told them? So Barnabas knows that Willie told them, but he doesn't know how. And there's Victoria just, well, I wouldn't have known if I hadn't gotten that phone call. And the way Barnabas says phone call, like, I know he knows what a phone is now. Like, I'm sure Willie told him, but he certainly hasn't used one yet. So he's just, phone call? Like, text message? It's something that's just foreign to him. I can usually get in about 4 episodes each time I do one of these until I can get more on my feet. So if you're watching at least 4 episodes, you'll be staying caught up with myself. And his Maggie is just still not herself. She's losing blood, but no one's found it again. There's not a drop of blood, like on her pillow, on her night clothes, on the carpet. There's no a trail leading out the door of it. It's just that she's got holes in her neck, and the doors are open. And I guess she's never been a sleepwalker before, because this is totally new to her, and and Sam and everybody. And Joe is worried about her, but she's telling him to, fuck off every time she sees him. So he's not gonna stay there when she's telling him to leave, and she's probably gonna start, chucking her father's paintings at him and coffee cups to get him out of the house. So he can't stay, but he's worried, and so nobody knows what's wrong with her. And then it's like Jason thinks that maybe Willie is getting Maggie to go to the cemetery somehow, and he's hurting her, possibly, and that's why she's got the same wounds as he does. But I don't think Jason cares to think about this too deeply. But what would Willie get out of getting a girl out of her house just to put puncture wounds in her neck? But it's like you said when he went to visit him at the old house. He doesn't want anything Willie's doing to get the cops to come up to Collinwood to interfere with what he has going against Liz at all. He's had this brewing in the back of his head for 18 years, so I understand why he doesn't want anybody fucking up his plans, let alone his ex best friend. And it's kind of funny the way that Jason's like, I'm letting you stay on here and all this stuff when, Willie knows that, Jason does not tell him when to come and go anymore. He's working for Barnabas against his will. He can't say no. So Willie's there because Barnabas wants him there, and there's nothing Jason can do to get Willie to leave. And like, I'm sure Jason's always been the type of guy who, like, his rule is law. He's always been the brains of the operation, so he's always told Willie what to do. And I think he slowly is feeling that slip away. So he's upset about that. He's upset about his plans getting thwarted, and he just wants Willie away so people stop, thinking about him and talking to him, because that's just going to ruin what he has against Liz. So that's why he's like, well, I don't know what he's doing, but you got to get rid of him. It's something. It's got to be. Well, what else could it? So he doesn't care enough to think about it too deeply. He just wants it to stop. And I guess we don't want him to think about it too deeply, because if he really stops to think, okay, I don't tell Willie what to do anymore, Barnabas does, but exactly how does Barnabas have more power over Willie than I do? Maybe this is the less he knows about it, the better. But it's almost as funny as like Dandy said. Barnabas, as strong as he is and as powerful as he is, he still has to run and hide in the mausoleum. And as powerful as Jason likes to think he is, he really can't do anything about this. Like, what's the opposite? Like, oh well, you're working for Barnabas even though I don't want you to, and that's it. He can't admit that he doesn't have power over Willie, so that's why he's all coming on. Well, you stay here because of this, and you're only staying on here because I'm letting you. And so his power is slipping away, and Barnabas is super coy about it, like, oh, Willie's just a good worker. He's just very efficient and knows how to fix stuff. So I promise he won't cause any more trouble. So, like, stop coming around here and asking about this dude that works for me. I don't even like you, guy. And anytime they're in the same room together, anytime there's an interaction between Barnabas and Jason, Barnabas just cannot stand Jason. Like, yeah, he could, because he really can't even get Willie to stop working for him. He can't. I mean, maybe the most Jason could do is fake some kind of trouble Willie is making to get him kicked out of town or thrown in jail. So maybe that's why that kind of irks Barnabas about him the most. Plus, I just don't think he likes the kind of slimy, underhanded guy that he is. I don't know if Barnabas really knows. I mean, of course, Barnabas doesn't know what Jason has over Liz. He just knows that he's a guy that's staying at Collinwood that nobody likes. So, of course, he's not inclined to like him anyway. Like, why are you here? So it's fun to see them in the same scene together, and Jason's gonna get down to the bottom of what's happening. But I think Barnabas figures that there's no way Jason could figure out he's up against a vampire, so he's kind of cocky about it. Their dynamic is very interesting. And Jason doesn't, he just seems like the type people always end up believing him and doing what he says, so he just thinks he can convince Barnabas or anybody to do what he says just because he's the one saying it. and that's not working with Barnabas, and like that, like the last review I did when Jason and Liz are talking, and then Carolyn bursts in and she wants to know if her mom's okay. And Liz says, yeah. And Jason, oh, she's just tired. I've been telling her she's been working too much and all this stuff. And Carolyn just, are you sure you're okay, mother? Like everybody is slowly paying less attention to Jason. And I think that's pissing him off. I think that's another reason why he's trying, or he did get a job at the cannery, so he has to stay involved in people's lives. It's not just that he's there because he's a guest. He, has to punch the clock. He has to be there. You can't make him leave, or then he can't do his job, and people would miss him. Nobody would miss him. I think fewer people like Jason than they like Willie, at least. David and Mrs. Johnson like Willie, whereas I don't think they like Mrs. Johnson. Just around Jason is he's convincing, but she doesn't seem to like him very much. And I mean, David doesn't seem to care one way or another why he's there. Like, he'll talk to him, he doesn't avoid him, but it's not like he's taken Jason aside to point out pictures of the family jewels and stuff. He only did that with Willie, so it's like nobody even why are you here? Nobody likes you, man. Okay, great actor, interesting character, and all that, but just the fact that he's scamming Liz and being a dick and thinking he has more power than he does, it's kind of pathetic. But he really does have something over Liz. He's not just. It does seem like he's just shit talking, and he's just like, oh, I know you cheated on your taxes one year. I know you double parked one time back in the 40s. So it's bigger than that. So he does have something over her. It's enough for her to not kick him out, and Liz does not like having strangers there. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out for a couple of hours. These were fun to talk about. You do want to watch Barnabas tell that story because it's like you start telling the story and you don't mean to, and suddenly it's all out. He's like, well, I certainly didn't mean to tell it. During a thunderstorm when the power's out, I'm scared. Let's invite Barnabas over, and he just tells a creepy story. So it's inadvertently funny. But yeah, smash the like button on the way out. It does help. I've hit a new record high of subscribers. Again, I don't like to say the number because it always drops down whenever I do that. So awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah, make sure you are subscribed and smashing the like button. Oh, Dandy says, thanks, Nikki. Yeah, thank you. So stay based and sexy. And get something to eat, get some good sleep, smoke out on the balcony. Just take it easy. I don't know what is it with this humidity. It's been so long since I lived upstairs somewhere. I don't know what to do about it. Like, heat won't stay in, but humidity will. It's so like that doesn't make sense to me. How do walls work? And that's a thing, but that's a thing up here. It's okay. I mean, this isn't too much hotter than it. I mean, it's been worse off, but I just think that's so weird. I went to go to says, thank you so much, Nikki. That was fun. Yeah, thank you. I really hope the microphone picked me up. I tried to stay closer to it this time since it kept cutting out so much before. Maybe I was too far away looking at my notes and all that stuff. So I really hope this held up for me this time because it was a bit much for me to get through. So if you got through my last episode as well, then you're awesome. So don't forget your pants on the way out. And I will definitely be seeing you guys in a chat room. I have a calendar near me. All the weeks are basically the same. And I still would want to get back into doing the balcony chats once a month, probably starting next month in June. Danny, the sound was fine. Oh, good, thank you. It just kept coming and going in waves last time, and it could have been me because the microphone is pretty much always the same. You just have to be this close to it. You just have to be that, like you're gonna bite its neck or something. But yeah, I have a Capri Sun, not sponsored. I love seeing all you guys. You guys make all of the bullshit worth it. So thank you for having a couple of extra hours for me so I can talk about Dark Shadows in front of you guys. And you can watch these for free right now on Tubi, link in the channel description and the show description. That's sitting there for you to check out anytime. So I love you guys again. You guys are the best. Everybody, take it easy. Until next time.